Welcome back to the Intentional Queen podcast journey to restoration with your host, Janine. I am so happy to have you guys with me this week. We are back for part 2 on the intentional self-care series with my guest, Latorsha Peake. If you're just joining for the first time, go back and check out our series from 2 weeks ago where she did part 1. And she talked about one of the biggest quotes that I had to jot down. I even put it on my personal Instagram was, drowning people sometimes die fighting their rescuers. That was a quote by Octavia Butler. And what she was talking about there is sometimes we out there trying to break people out of their cocoon early. As you guys know, the Intentional Queen journey, my logo is a butterfly for multiple reasons. But one of the biggest things is when the butterfly is getting ready to bust free, it's in a cocoon. And the reason why the cocoon is there is to help the butterfly strengthen its wings. So that way, when it does set free, it will be strong enough to fly and sustain flying. So sometimes when we are trying to be helping people or be the rescuer, sometimes you aren't allowing people to strengthen their wings to get out there and fly free. And we sometimes can harm them by doing things. My keyword is enable. I did at times in my life become an enabler because one of the things in the healthcare industry is we are there to help you. We always want to support you. So when you see someone in need, you just jump right on in. But sometimes we jump in a little too early. So I feel like it's okay to support people, but just make sure that you know that there's a fine line between doing too much or doing too much too soon. So that was one thing I just definitely wanted to reiterate. But I know you guys have been snapshotting on Instagram. I love you guys for that. Snapshot listening to the podcast. And definitely, if you notice, I've been tagging you and putting them in my story. So if you guys continue to do that, listen, I might have to make that a thing and then call y'all out on the podcast episode because, everybody likes to be recognized. So make sure when you listening to this episode, snapshot and then tag me in it on Instagram at Intentional Queen Journey so you guys can get your own shout out, okay? Me and Latorsha, we did an Instagram live, my first one, y'all. I was so nervous. I didn't even want to do it. But she definitely pushed me into my greatness by just putting it out there like, Janine, we just going to do this. And we did probably about 20 minutes and we spoke on some key things that I really thought resonated with the people. And when we put up a snippet on my personal page, so on Instagram, you can make a reel, REEL, and it's only like 30 seconds. So I took 30 seconds of our 20-minute conversation and I posted it. And y'all, why that thing say 1.5 thousand people watched it within less than 2 hours. So somebody out there is getting blessed. So I appreciate all my listeners, everyone who's sharing. And you know what? Sometimes you got to come through some things and bless people. The snippet was about what does crushing mean? And if you haven't listened to my beginning episodes, Meekness in the Storm of Vulnerability, that's where I really dig into the crushing. And it really stemmed from a book by T.D. Jakes. So definitely, guys, go check that out and slide over to @IceCoffeeAndSelfCare. She did an Instagram live. So you can catch that replay, self-care check-in with Janine. So you guys go support Latorsha over there. So now let's get ready to jump into the second part, but I'm going to give you a little summary of the first part that me and Latorsha did. She talked about her history of having high blood pressure and how stress can definitely show up in your vital signs, making you very sick, really. And you don't even look like that from the outside. I mean, when you look at her, you'll notice she's very thin and she's fit, but sometimes your numbers, your labs may not look as good as you look on the outside. So make sure that you're taking those moments of self-care, but also taking care of you and trying to become the best person that you can be. The first tip that she said before I closed out part 1 was, what can you do? And what she was saying there is, you know what? So many people talk about what they can't do, but the question is, what can you do to get yourself on that journey? She also talks about how there's so many layers to trying to get your self-care. A lot of times people struggle in their fitness journey because there's so many other issues that they're dealing with, finances, being a mother and being a busy mother. And then we just have other lifestyle things that are going on. So really, when you start digging into your self-care needs, sometimes you got to start at, it's not necessarily just your fitness, what's really going on in your life. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to give you part 2 of me and Latorsha closing out. She's going to give us the rest of these tips, and stay tuned to the end because she's definitely going to bless us with some more stuff at the end, and you can get a little preview of behind the scenes that we had. Thank you so much, guys. Stay tuned. Some of the intentional queens aren't parents, but they're still busy and they're trying to figure out how to balance their life and while still having self-care. Give us like 5 tips that we can do. It could be fitness, food, because you do a little bit of both.
Okay. One of the things I think that we really need to look at is what can you do? You know, it's so easy to start off saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, what can you do? And if you say, you know what, I can walk out to the mailbox, every day, then start where you are and quit comparing yourself to what other people are doing. Get offline, stop comparing yourself to what these other people are doing and how much weight they're losing. You don't know what else they got going on. You got to do the work for yourself. And I think that kind of messes a lot of people up because they're like, I tried that same workout program. I didn't lose any weight, but this person lost, 10 pounds or whatever. So now you think nothing's going to work for you. No, start where you are and be willing to try different things. I think that's really important too, because sometimes I think we just get caught up. We got to be in the gym getting beat down on some cardio equipment or a machine. And really, you like jump rope. Janine and I love jump rope.
Listen, I like that rope.
You go to Walmart or Target or whatever and get you a jump rope, and you could remember your days as a kid. Think about the things that you like: dancing, Zumba. I have a friend that does pole dancing, and she loves it. And you got to be strong to do that.
Yes, I heard about that. And the hula hoop too. One of my friends told me about that weighted hula hoop. I'm thinking about getting one of those because that'll work your core, right? But your yoga friend now, I was listening to one of them episodes about you trying to do this split and your yoga friend. So I get that split. When I was kickboxing, they make us do these stretches and they be like, go down in the split. Mine was a half split. I wasn't all the way there yet. You got to keep stretching, right? And keep working at it.
Keep working. And don't, I just really think a big focus point is the comparison. Don't compare your journey to somebody else's. And, I had a friend say this once. She said, don't be afraid to look crazy. Yeah, I think we get, that self-conscious, especially for those that go out and attend classes or, work out in groups. You're afraid that people are going to laugh at you. They're going to think, oh, I look crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. Nobody paying attention to you. Okay, let's be clear. And most of the people that are successful in the moves that are being done started where you are. They didn't wake up one morning and be like, okay, let me jump this 30-inch box or let me do this split or whatever. They started somewhere. So oftentimes when I look at people, I'm not looking at, Lord, I look at them, they look crazy back there. I'm like, man, I hope they get this because I know if they keep putting in the work, they're going to get to this next level and then they're going to get to this level. So a lot of people be cheering for you. You don't, but you so self-conscious or you got it in your mind that they're, laughing at you or whatever. We all started somewhere. So I think that is definitely key. I also think about how you eat. Really just kind of think about something small that you can do every single day, whether it's adding a vegetable to your meals and just reducing. I think reducing the amount of what you eat is important. And one of the things that you can do to help you is use a smaller plate or, use a paper plate because they're always small.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you can't even fit all the food on that plate, but be mindful as you eat. So many times, especially at work on lunch breaks, we just grab the food and we just swallow it. And we didn't even take time to actually just stop and chew it. And if you can slow down that process, your body has more time to say, you know what? I'm satisfied. But when you just take it all down in 1 or 2 minutes, your body whoa, what? Oh, okay. We still hungry?
And then you eat more, then you overindulging, right? Yes. And who knows what you even eating. So like you said, it could just even be the type of food that you're eating, quantity wise. We talking about McDonald's, no shade to McDonald's, right. But sometimes just depending on what you got in your lunch, right? Yeah. So that meal prepping thing, that was key. I'm the queen of meal prepping on Sundays.
The foods that you store in your house. That's one of the reasons I don't eat, if you you don't eat cookies or chips or whatever, it has nothing to do with I don't eat them or I don't like them. We don't stock them.
Come on now. Say it one more time. We don't what?
We don't stock them. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's so easy to eat it when it's right there. You're like, oh, let me just grab this bag of chips right here real quick or whatever, or grab these cookies. But when you don't buy them and you know you got to get up, get dressed, now you got to put that mask on and all this stuff, you know, you got to go risk COVID, you know, during the pandemic to go get these potato chips. You're like, you know what? Nah, I'm going to go ahead and eat, you know, eat some fruit or something like that.
Or find a different something. I
Yeah.
start doing that with popcorn instead of chips. I'm like the queen of skinny pop, like, you know, and just changing. So if you're a snacker, what I learned is figuring out what times you like to eat. Like, when do you find yourself snacking, and find something more satisfying? Like, for instance, having a protein bar or something. Like, try to put something in place that'll stop you from doing all the extra snacking. Because I feel like with people being home with COVID time, if you're not going nowhere, I mean, you just be like, well, I'm tired of watching this movie. I'm gonna go in here and snack, get something else. I'm gonna go in there. And next thing you know, you adding on the pounds, you adding on the snacks. And if you would have just chose something that was more filling, you might be less more to indulge in snacking. Because I had to be careful of my snacking, and I would do mindless snacking. I'm watching TV, I'm going to snack, you know, and so I'll be like, let me find something else to do, because if I'm not watching TV, then I'm not snacking, right? So sometimes it's just getting your body moving or doing something for yourself. Like, I talk about self-care from the perspective of journaling or meditating, or there's other type of things to do. Like, I actually got into like coloring, because, you know, having a toddler and stuff, you know, I try to do activities with him. So just finding different activities that don't make you think about food. You know what I mean? Like, if you're busy doing something, most of the time you're not thinking about snacking or eating. And small frequent meals, people tell me that's good too. Small frequent meals. You know, when you cutting the calories, you know, I mean, cutting the quantity, doing it more frequently is good too.
Yeah. And I think I like you talked about the snacking, because a lot of things are related to habits as well. One other thing for parents or any caregivers with kids, and I know I can hear the women saying, well, my kids like all these snacks and different things. Well, they like them because you buy them, you know, you stock them.
That's your term. Listen, because just stock them. Yes, go ahead now.
But one of the things too, I realized even with my husband and son, we kind of move the things around and how they're stored in the refrigerator. So like the fruit in, like say we have, you know, apples, oranges, grapes, strawberries, or whatever, things that you can just pick up and eat, they're at eye level versus inside the crisper or whatever you call it. And that's where, you know, you want to kind of keep them, but you could take out a portion or a little bowl of them. So like for your son, if you wanted him to stop, you know, grabbing the fruit box every time he opened a refrigerator, you could have maybe the blueberries sitting right there, his eye level. So he opened them up. That's the first thing he sees. And he's more likely to say, oh, okay, I want this, or maybe a little cheese stick or something like that. So sometimes you got to trick yourself. And that just goes back to what you have available. If you open your pantry, like you open mine, you'll see a bunch of walnuts and almonds and things like that. That's where the chips used to be, you know? Yeah. So it kind of changed. So everybody in the house is always snacking on like those nuts and things like that. So that is another tip. And how many did I give you enough?
Listen, you gave me a few more than 5, but I'm still jotting notes though. Okay, Queens is still jotting notes. Listen, this is what you do. So therefore, I want you to just give it to us.
But I like drink water. Drink water.
Yes, that's good.
You know, that's another thing that can keep you from snacking so much. You know, if your body full of water, it starts thinking it's full. It's like, okay. And the thing is, sometimes we don't think we're full because we're not making that chewing sensation. We're just drinking, but eventually your body will be like, hey, that's enough right now. And you'll be too busy going to the bathroom anyway to be like,
yeah. That's the downside of my job though, like being in the operating room. So I'm guilty of that. And I think that would help sometimes with the headaches or sometimes the sluggishness, because people are like, you got to stay hydrated, but you can start to see dehydration in your skin and stuff like that. Your skin's a little dry and we have to wear the mask, not even that, but me like N95 mask. And sometimes I'm double mask with the goggle and the shield. You thirsty, but you like, I don't want to take all this down.
Yeah, no, I get that. And but ladies, you know, if nothing else, you want that glowing skin, you know, drink your water. You like, why my skin always so dry? Drink some water, like help yourself. Like
that's my new thing. So I've learned to catch up on my water as soon as I get off work. If I find that I have not did well during the day. And I've cut out like a lot of juices and sodas as well. My son's good. He only likes milk and water, but he does have some things that he likes to snack on, like chips. And so I tend to hide those, but he loves yogurt and cheese sticks and stuff like that. So I think that's a really good tip for moms or women who are buying the food for the household. Put it at eye level, what you really want to be more nutritious up front, and put the non-nutritious in the back. So then it's more limited of them going for it. Those nuts are a good thing too. I'm a key thing of almonds and those little Sargento little things with the little cheese and the nuts. I throw them in my lunch bag all the time as a breakthrough snack.
And stay off of that aisle. You know, the aisle, it is a setup. Let me tell you why this aisle is a setup. The aisle in the grocery store with the cookies on it, it's a setup. Next time you go to that aisle, look around and see what else is on that aisle. It's all like the baby food and all the things for little kids. It's a setup. They put that stuff there on purpose because they know when you come in there with your babies and toddlers, they're going to turn and look at all those sweet treats over there. Stay off of that aisle. Don't take them kids down that aisle, y'all. It's a setup. Janine, you know what they have.
I know. That's why I'm laughing. Yeah, they're like, Mommy, I want that. I want that. You're like, no, we're gonna go over here and get some
Stay in the outer perimeters of the grocery store as much as possible, because you know you have your produce, you have your meats, you've got your dairy, all of that stuff is on the outskirts of the store. As soon as you enter those aisles, grab what you need and run. Don't stay there.
That's good. I never thought about that when you said the full perimeter. You're right. Yeah, most of the time that's what it is, right?
You really shouldn't need to go down on the shelves too much unless you're buying like some canned vegetables or something. But a lot of times now they're on the outer perimeter too, depending on where you shop or whatever. But as soon as you get inside those inside aisles, that's where all the processed, all the sugary stuff is. So y'all pay attention next time you go in the grocery store, and y'all let Janine know if I was talking right. Okay.
Listen, I already know. I'm thinking about my supermarket. Like, yeah, that is about right. Cause you know, you see that on the right and then that be on the left. Yeah.
Yeah. Set up.
Yeah, I think that's so good. Well, you gave us a lot of tips right there, Queens. I hope y'all getting that. So really the basis of this episode was just us trying to prioritize our self-care journey. I wanted to give a little quote. You can't pour from an empty cup, so you have to take care of yourself first. I find, like I said, that when you pour into other people and you're doing all these busy roles in your life, if you're not taking care of you, it's no good. You got to make sure that you are continuing to fill your cup. So making self-care a priority is like key. Is there anything else, Latorsha, you want to get a Queens? Because I feel like, you know, you my friend, so we could chat all day, but I want to make sure that, you know, we giving the Queens what we wanted to talk about with self-care and intentions. I mean, you did do an episode on intentions. And so what is being an Intentional Queen podcast, you know, I thought that was a good episode. They're all good, but, you know, I'm in there all the time. So I'm just giving y'all some select ones about what we were talking about today to definitely go back and listen to.
I think I'll just leave the listeners with this thought. You know, all the things that you are doing, if you didn't do them for, let's just say, an hour, would the world come to an end? Think about that. Think about that. Would they figure out how to manage without you for 1 hour? They may not do it the way that you do it, but would the world crumble and fall apart because you took time out for yourself?
Oh, that's so good. And you made me start thinking about my son bath time, because I had to start figuring out when I would get off work, when I could work out. And so he likes to take these lavish baths that'd be like 20, 30 minutes. And I'll go into my office, which is now a gym too, and I'll just work out. He'll know. He'd be like, Mommy, you working out there? Yes, I am. So utilizing the time where they're doing something else or preoccupied, because smaller kids is hard. It's easier when they're kind of bigger kids because they don't really need you as much. But when smaller kids, they want your attention. They want you to play with them. And you're like, listen, I need to do this. So I love how you said to try, the world end, because you took 30 to 45 minutes or even an hour to yourself. I think that's so good. So I want you to just tell people the name of your podcast, how we can contact you, like run down all your social media, all that, so people can contact you and listen to your podcast.
Okay. My website is icecoffeeandselfcare.com, and that should have all the links and everything that you need. But also I am on Instagram at Ice Coffee and Self Care. I'd love for you to come follow me, get in my DMs. I will talk to you, comment, all that good stuff. You can email me at info@icecoffeeandselfcare.com. And, I'm happy to reach out. Oh, the podcast is on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. But if you listen to your podcast, but if you don't see it there, definitely go to the website and you can listen directly from the website.
Oh, that's good. And so, Latorsha, we're going to sign it out to the queens. We're going to tell them to level up their IQ to a better you. We are so happy you were here giving us these self-care tips. Like I said, you gave us more than 5, but we definitely going to be able to utilize all these key tips. I am, because I was like, oh, yeah, I got to make sure I don't. What you say? Do you stock them? They should be stocked. You stocking them? So that was something I learned. Listen, if you don't stock it, it's not there, right? They're not going to eat what's not there.
You're your own supplier. Look at that.
I love it. Well, we're going to sign on out, guys, and we pray that you guys have a blessed week. And you know my episodes come every 2 weeks, so we will be talking to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. But seriously, though, I think people get so fixated on the exercise piece of it or eating healthy, and they just forget about, all those other pieces that we've been talking about. I mean, it's crazy. And I'm just glad to be able to have that voice to say, hey, listen, come over here, get in the conversation with us, grab your coffee, your morning drink or whatever. And girl, let's talk this thing out. Like, we may not cure world problems or cure ourselves, but we can start the process and start doing the work. And, it's listening to the podcast. I've been talking about, let's do this work, and it may be a small little step, but let's do this work. And if your timeout, sometimes my timeout looks like reading a book. Sometimes it looks like some yoga. Sometimes it looks like me sitting in a corner staring at a wall. You know what I'm saying?
Shutting down.
Let me just clear my mind. This is what I need right now. So we just got to figure out what it looks like for us. So I just had to throw that tidbit in there.
Listen, I like it. Listen, that's why I said, hold on, this that good. Let me hit that one time. So guys, that concludes the end of part 2 with the intentional self-care series with my girl, Latorsha Peake. As I said, go back, check out our IG live replay on at Ice Coffee and Self-Care. That's her Instagram page. And make sure you support and follow both of us. I am at Intentional Queen Journey. And so just go out there and share with friends. We really, really love it. Snapshot listening to the podcast, because guess what? I want to definitely start shouting y'all out and slide y'all into my Instagram story so y'all can get y'all love and recognition too for supporting. And I got some events getting ready to come up, guys. So really, I need some emails so I can go ahead and put you first on the list for some things that's coming through. I appreciate everyone who has been putting in Apple Podcast reviews. Thank you. When you do that, it makes the reach go far. So definitely, I appreciate that. Guys, I'm so blessed by you guys. I'm going to end this on out. Like I said, snapshot us on IG, rate, review, subscribe. And as always, see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.